Woo! Hey, good morning. It's Friday, and we have so much to get to this morning. And as always, you can text me 309-451-9299. We gave away a pair of Lincoln Reagan dinner tickets yesterday. We selected a winner, and we are so excited to give you listeners a token of our appreciation for you listening. Those were $75 value. So congratulations to the winners. We've got so much to get to. Kamala Harris, she's calling herself new. She says that she's going to unify the country in this Dana Bash interview. She is anything but new. She's not new. She is the past that has cursed America with this open border and cratered economy. Okay, we need President Donald Trump now to repair the mess that she's made and bring us forward into a greater, healthier future. She did a sit down. It was about 20 minutes long, this interview with Dana Bash. Here's a clip from it. Here's Harris. And on her day one priority, if she wins the White House, this is what she says she's going to do.
One of my highest priorities is to do what we can to support and strengthen the middle class. When I look at...
I got to jump in. I promised that I wasn't going to jump in, but she says that one of her highest priorities is to strengthen the middle class. Then why aren't you doing it? Here's why. She is not like you and I. She is not the middle class. She has no idea what the middle class has to go through. She has no idea that you have to choose between school supplies and buying groceries this year. She's got no idea that maybe you have to choose to fill your propane gas tank or put food on the table, and you might go cold this winter. She's got no idea what that feels like. Why? Because she's upper class, okay? She comes from one of the wealthiest parts of Canada, Montreal. It was one of the wealthiest suburbs. And her neighbor, I discussed this at length. Her neighbor did an editorial piece, and she discussed what it was like living in that suburb. And, you've got the nannies who are pushing the buggies, these beautiful buggies, and they're pushing the babies. And you've got this library that's all brick and it's got this huge greenhouse on it. She has no idea what it's like to live in central Illinois, the middle class, the Rust Belt, right? So let's continue. This is going to bother. This is going to be very hard to get through. Here we go.
The aspirations, the goals, the ambitions of the American people. I think that people are ready for a new way forward, in a way that generations of Americans have been fueled by hope and by optimism. I think, sadly, in the last decade, we have had in the former president someone who has really been pushing an agenda and an environment that is about diminishing the character and the strength of who we are as Americans, really dividing our nation. And I think people are ready to turn the page on that. One of my...
dividing our nation. Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure we're more divided than ever. And whose fault is that? That's Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They're the administration right now. And I think it's so funny. She says, oh gosh, what was it? A former president, and obviously she's referring to President Donald Trump. She says our former president has pushed an agenda that diminishes the character and strength of who we are as Americans and divides our nation. So she's saying the quiet part out loud there. Our former president is going to be Joe Biden, right? Our former president is Joe Biden. So he's the one who actually divides the nation and diminishes our character. You guys remember his, I call it the red speech, where he, has this red lighting in the back of him, and he looks so much like a tyrant, and he delivers this speech. You notice how Donald Trump never refers to to Joe Biden's voters as, leftists, or he never goes after the voters. He's always come up with quippy nicknames like Comrade Kamala or Crooked Joe Biden, Crooked Hillary, Lion Ted, right? He always has done that. in politics. He comes up with little names, quippy names, I like to call them. They're not it's kind of an insult, but it's not badgering and it's not laying it on so thick. These people call President Donald Trump a dictator. They're the ones who took a shot at him. Okay, what do you mean dividing the nation? You guys took a shot at this guy. He almost died because of you, because of your rhetoric, because you've called him Hitler for 8 years. Since 2016, you've called this guy Hitler, that he is some sort of tyrant and that he's going to destroy the nation. Although we have evidence that he won't destroy the nation. It was 4 years, 2016 to 2020. We had 4 years where he didn't destroy the nation and turn us into a fascist country, a dictatorship. He didn't do that. And notice how President Donald Trump never, ever goes after Democrat voters. He always goes after in a very quippy way. He never, tries to lay it on thick and actually get people to believe that Kamala Harris is some sort of dictator, although she is a communist, a blatant communist. All right. What are we getting to today? I do want to talk about these illegals. They tried to hijack a California school bus full of kids. Where is the border czar? Where is she? She's nowhere to be found. And not only happened once, but it happened twice. 2 school buses full of children, almost hijacked by illegal immigrants. And then we got to get to this pastor. He's been arrested and found guilty for saying that drag queen story hour is a bad thing, essentially. So he's protested drag queen story hour, and he's a pastor, which, he's just... weird. A pastor is actually going out there and trying to inform the masses about the Bible and what the Bible says, right? So he was actually found guilty of criminal harassment. We're going to get to that story. Plus, Kamala Harris, in an attempt to gain the Christian vote, she hires on an activist who thinks that Christians are white supremacists and Christianity has been taken over by white nationalists. So, of course, Kamala Harris hires this woman for her campaign. Why wouldn't she, right? So we're going to get to all of that. Let's start with the illegals. Parents at a school district in San Diego are horrified after 20 illegal aliens attempted to board a school bus with kids on board. So they tried to hijack this school bus. This horrific incident deserves an investigation. Over 250,000 illegal immigrants have entered into San Diego alone just this past year. This is just another example of the chaos that's going to be unfolding there, because 250,000 illegals, that's a whole lot. So we need to shut down the border. We're seeing thousands of illegals enter every single day, and it's just going to get worse. So here's the story. Take a listen.
A group of migrants tried to board a school bus this morning while it was traveling to a school. The superintendent for the Humboldt del Zura Union School District informed parents of that incident earlier today. It happened at one of the stops on the school district's bus route that heads to Oak Grove Middle School and Humboldt Primary. Meanwhile, yesterday afternoon, in a similar area along another route, the superintendent says that a group of migrants tried to stop another bus. Border Patrol, CHP, and the Sheriff's Office have now been informed of these incidents. The superintendent says that for the safety of everyone, if a driver sees a group of migrants at a bus stop, they will drive past it and move on to the next.
So that's the local 5, Fox 5. According to Fox News, a group of around 20 suspected illegals attempted to board a school bus picking up elementary students in California on Wednesday. This is according to local reports. Parents, of course, are worried. The incident unfolded just 24 hours after a smaller group of suspected migrants tried to get on a different school bus, another school bus in the same district, different area. So the 2 incidents, they all took place in San Diego County, which is just 11 miles away from the border, the southern border. So Wednesday's incident saw a group of 20 migrants try to get up onto the bus that was picking up students along the highway there. And Fox 5 reports they're citing an email here and they know this email was sent out to students' families as notice from the district superintendent informing the families, hey, this is going on, migrant hijacking. It's unclear what the intent of these foreign nationals is or was, I don't know, but it's probably safe to assume that they knew the bus was full of children and the bus was probably headed somewhere with even more children. And that's a really horrifying thought. I mean, you put two and two together. What were they trying to do? So Nicole, she's a parent. She's got an 8-year-old boy who was on the school bus. She tells Fox News, the encounter, quote, was really scary for children. My son said these adults weren't kids, but they had backpacks on, Mom, and they were trying to get on our school bus. He said that there was a lot of them. It's possible they assumed that the bus was included in their free healthcare, free housing, free food. The world may never know. Maybe these migrants, they had that language barrier. Maybe they just assumed that they could do whatever they want because they get whatever they want, right? So the supervisor there's only one official in California, in the whole state of California, I've seen speak out against this. This supervisor, it's a San Diego official there. He says, he tweeted this out on X. So far in California this week, we've allowed illegals to receive $150,000 loans for housing. That happened through a bill. California passed a bill. We removed certain cities' efforts to require ID voting, IDs to go vote. Certain cities have been trying to implement that in California. Certain cities have tried to implement that here in Illinois. But a lot of times you're unsuccessful because the state shuts you down real quick. They don't want that, obviously, because they've implemented things like automatic voter registration. They've made it to where immigrants can get a driver's license like you and me, a United States citizen, a regular driver's license. And then when they go and apply for their driver's license, they're automatically registered to vote. The Secretary of State, of course, is going to claim that, yes, so there's a back-end process that weeds all those illegals out. But back in, I think it was 2020, 2019, I don't remember the year, just a few short years ago, there were 100 or so illegal immigrants accidentally registered. And what did they call it? They called it an oops mistake. Sorry guys. We worked it out with the Illinois State Board of Elections and we fixed our mistake. But, oh yeah, I'm just supposed to trust that the back end process to weed these illegals off of our voter rolls works. So a group of illegal immigrants tried to board a school bus as well in California this week. So he tweeted this out. These three things happened: the $150,000 loans for housing, removing certain cities' efforts to require IDs when you vote. Number 3, a group of illegal immigrants tried to board a school bus. And it's only Thursday, folks. That's what this supervisor said. His name is Jim Desmond. And he said, quote, expanding state-funded home loans to include illegal immigrants is not just another handout. It's a massive overreach that shifts the financial burden onto law-abiding taxpayers. That's what he wrote on X. Why wouldn't they, these illegals, why wouldn't they think that this is free? The buses are free. They can come and go as they please. We've got Kamala Harris flying them into the country, probably first class for free, right? They enter with no promise to offer anything to this country. They've got no obligation to this country to act upright, to be an upstanding citizen. They've got no promise to offer anything. And they're being handed everything on a silver platter. Of course, they're going to have this mentality that they take what they want, they do as they please, and that includes hijacking a school bus full of children. This is what happens when we allow the progressives to infiltrate our government with this whole no human is illegal nonsense. This narrative, no human is illegal. This is stupid. So no other San Diego official seems to care about this. The only one that seems to be speaking out is Supervisor Jim Desmond. And there has been no investigation. This happened twice, 2 consecutive incidents here. And I think that this is only going to get worse. We're going to start to see more migrants hijack things like buses, possibly commercial airlines, right? More and more alien invaders are entering the country daily. So I'd imagine that this problem just gets worse. It's unclear what will have to happen in order for the officials to pretend to care. Kamala Harris, that is, because she has yet to say one word, and I don't think she ever will unless something crazy happens, like, I don't know, maybe another, like 9/11. God forbid. I don't want that to happen, but this is only going to get worse. Too many kids have already suffered under Kamala Harris's alien invasion, and things are going to get worse if she's installed and selected as president. All right, I got to take a quick break, but you're listening to Conservative Cat. Find me on YouTube. Type it in your search bar, Conservative Cat Show. You can also find me on Rumble. Type it in your search bar, Cities 92.9. We'll be right back. Hey, good morning. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. So do appreciate you tuning in each and every single day, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Before we took the break, I was telling you a little bit about some illegal immigrants. We're going to get to another story here because this happened, I guess, in the same day where you've got illegal immigrants, this gang took over an entire Colorado apartment complex. It's Aurora, Colorado. And armed illegal immigrant gang took over this entire apartment complex. So like I said, it's only going to get worse. We're going to get to that story a little bit later in the show. I do want to get to this pastor, though, because this is a very important story. And this is one of those stories where you've got to say, take note, America. Leftists in Calgary, Canada, harassed a pastor and projected their deranged insecurities onto him by claiming he committed criminal harassment for trying to follow the word of God. Pastor Derek Reamer was found guilty of criminal harassment because he had the nerve to protest at Drag Queen Story Hour. Yes, it was at a local library. The local library was promoting it, and this just further proves that Canada has joined on to the anti-free speech bandwagon. Now, I do know of somebody who was arrested in the United States. A good buddy of mine, he's a pro-lifer, and he's in the pro-life movement, but he was protesting Drag Queen Story Hour. I think it was in Milwaukee. And he was promptly arrested. Now, the difference between this story in Canada and that story in Milwaukee, he wasn't arrested for like criminal harassment. They didn't blatantly say, oh, you're harassing these people, or he was there and he had like amplification device. So they kind of skirted around the law and said that the amplification device wasn't within the city ordinance code and that he couldn't use the amplification device. And he said, well, this is free speech. I can definitely use an amplification device. And he did. He could have. They just used this as an excuse to arrest him. But in Canada, they're blatantly arresting people with different points of view. So let me get into this story out of Canada. According to the Post Millennial, Calgary, Judge Karen, of course, Judge Karen Mole, Karen, she proclaimed a Canadian pastor guilty of criminal harassment for protesting a drag queen story time for children that the city library was hosting earlier this year. So earlier this year, this happened. He was arrested. He was charged, and now he's been found guilty. So Derek Reamer, the pastor, was found guilty of breaching his bail conditions, which barred him from protesting at any LGBTQ event. Supporters of one Drag Queen Story Hour actually threw Reamer to the ground when he opposed the event, when he was protesting the event. You have the right to protest. Not in Canada, in the United States. The video of the assault gained global attention. They assaulted him, and yet he's the one in cuffs. Makes a whole lot of sense, right? He's the one behind bars. This video gained global attention. What's the logic behind drag shows, by the way? Drag queens reading to children. I don't understand how that positively promotes anything. Someone really needs to tell the left, like, hey, I want to sit them down, get them a nice cool glass of water, and just say, hey, you can teach kids about how to respect all people without a grown man dressed up in provocative clothing, thongs a lot of the time, a grown man in drag reading to them. You can teach them about respect without that. I want to tell them that, but I like, these people just don't get it. We can't teach the kids to respect all people unless we've got a grown man in a thong reading to them. Yeah, tell me how that makes sense. A judge found me guilty, he says. She found me guilty of criminal harassment for expressing my opposition towards Drag Queen Story Hour to a library manager set on hosting the event. They tried to get the event to be shut down, rightfully so. And posting a video of our interaction on Facebook and saying we'll be back to protest if the event continues. So he warned this librarian, hey, if you continue with this event, we're going to be here to demonstrate, and you better be ready. because we're going to be here and we're going to counter protest this. So the judge found him guilty. In his spare time, this pastor is the head of an evangelical ministry to the homeless. He's the head of Mission 7. So he's feeding homeless. And this is not a bad guy. This is a guy who cares deeply about children and doesn't want them exposed to indecency. Grown men in thongs reading to them. It's disgusting. So the charges are related. He was found guilty of this incident that happened earlier this year in Calgary. It was March 25th to April 2nd of 2024 is when the incident occurred. He could receive up to 2 years in jail at his sentencing hearing, and he told LifeSite that he will be posting the sentencing date soon. So he has a sentencing hearing, could serve up to 2 years. This is so sad. In trans progressive utopia, the only permissible religion is leftism and wokeism, and Canadians must affirm that as if it means something. Wokeism, leftism, what does that even mean? Rather than condemn it for the disgrace that it is. Having grown men in thongs read to children is a disgrace, and it needs to be condemned. The pastor was arrested numerous times before that for fighting against the LGBTQ agenda. And once his van was actually destroyed, vandalized with anti-Christian messaging, satanic symbols. Yes, these people are just awesome. So while he was imprisoned, because he's been in prison before, this guy just won't stop. He says, you know what, I'm going to continue the fight. So they vandalized his van last year. So this is where Canada differs from the United States and Milwaukee. That man that I knew, the young man, he was way younger than I was at the time when he was arrested. I think he was like 18 years old, something crazy. But he was arrested in Milwaukee for this amplification device. They said, oh, you can't have an amplification device. This was actually a cop-out, right? They said they wanted to get him off the street and away from the LGBTQers. Those police officers in the city wanted him off because they didn't like his political speech. They didn't approve his political speech. That's why they truly wanted to arrest him, but they hid behind this whole like amplification device thing. But here in Canada, they passed, quote, a new safe and inclusive access bylaw, and it bans specific protests inside and outside any buildings owned or leased by the city. So you can't protest outside of city buildings. Wow. Question. Do hate speech laws apply to people targeting Christians? Because it really seems this is the only religion that is allowed to be hated. It really seems as if the only religion that is allowed to be hated is Christianity, even though it's been practiced by over 50% of Canadians. Okay, 50% of Canadians, that's a huge number. Okay, you can't get 50% of people to agree on much. 50% of Canadians are Christian. Comparatively, I don't think that the drag queen population is nearly as high. If I had to guess, probably about 3% of Canadians are drag queens. So I'm just saying, the reason why America should care about this, the reason why you should care about this is because Canada literally touches the United States. They're always one step ahead of the leftist insanity. First it happens there, then it always seems to make its way down to the States. Here's the thing. It's already happened. I know of somebody personally, right? He was arrested for protesting a drag queen story hour in the park in Milwaukee. And they used some sort of cover-up line, right? Oh, you used an amplification device. The United States is already doing this. They're just better at the trickery. Now, they're just in your face. They passed the Safe and Inclusive Access bylaw in Canada. And it straight up bans specific protests. So that means specific political speech is not allowed. The pastor really should be given an award. He's protecting kids, but this Canadian legal system has some sort of they've got deranged priorities. I don't know how else to say it. They've got deranged priorities. And it's unclear how many Christians are going to eventually end up in jail. But if I was in Canada, I'd be in jail and I'd be worshiping, right? I've got my Bible. I don't care. But I'm sure more and more Christians in Canada are going to be jailed because of these stupid hate speech laws. All right. I'm going to be right back. Kamala Harris is trying to hire this woke Christian who hates Christians. So she thinks that Christianity has been taken over by white nationalists, this woman, this activist, and she was hired by the Kamala Walls campaign. So we're going to get to that story here in just a little bit. As always, text me 309-451-9299. It's Friday, folks. Are you awake yet? We've got hot, fresh, piping news next. Good morning. Hey, it's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. So do appreciate you tuning in each and every single day, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. You know, how dumb do these people really think we are? The Aurora Police Department in Colorado, I can't believe what they posted on social media. We're going to get to this story. Armed illegal immigrant gang. They're a Venezuelan gang. They took over this Colorado apartment complex, and this is truly disappointing that the media, the mainstream, is not going to report this story. Why? Because it's an election year. But guess who will? Ding, 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 ding. You guessed it, me, Conservative Cat. So we're going to cover that probably at the top of the hour. But first, I do want to get to Kamala Harris. She did do a sit-down interview with Dana Bash, by the way. We're going to get to that as well. She sat there and she claimed that she's new, she's brand new, and she's going to unify the country. Your side demonized your opponent to the point where some deranged lunatic, possibly a member of the CIA, sorry, I have a little cold, went out there and shot President Donald Trump. Nearly killed him, an inch away from his brain. So your side demonized and called Trump Hitler for the past 8 years, and somebody wound up taking a shot at him. Now, I don't know. I didn't read a headline that somebody took a shot at Kamala Harris. I didn't read a headline that somebody took a shot at Joe Biden. And I don't want anybody to. No. But your side has constantly demonized Republicans. The voters themselves called the MAGA extremists, called me a MAGA extremist. You're the administration that has divided this country, and we need President Donald Trump to repair the mess that you've made. You've cratered the economy. You've cursed this country with your open border. So to call yourself new is disingenuous, and it's stupid. So I want to get to Kamala Harris hiring this woman. She's an activist, and she says that Christianity has been, this activist woman that Kamala Harris hired said that white nationalists have taken over the Christian faith. Yes. So I want to start out with, to win over Christians, Kamala's campaign hired a woke Christian who hates Christians, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Christianity is not a race, but of course, Kamala Harris's team hired this activist. Her name is Reverend Jennifer Butler, who previously claimed Christianity has been taken over by white supremacists. See, this is the rhetoric that divides the nation. Okay, you're demonizing white Christians here. You're saying they're white supremacists, and you just hired this activist on to push out more of this hatred. It's hatred and division. So according to Fox News, Harris Wall's campaign, they hired a liberal activist. Her name is Jennifer Butler. She's a reverend. And she is the new head of faith outreach. So Kamala's not doing well with Christians, obviously, so she had to figure out something. So Butler is the answer, I guess. So Butler confirming the appointment on social media and in an interview with Religion News Service. Butler is a longtime liberal activist who argued in 2022 that white supremacists have hijacked the Christian faith. Yes, this is what she believes. And she has said faith calls us to resist white supremacy. She is the founder of a nonprofit, Faith in Public Life, which claims to advance the moral imperative for a just, inclusive, and equitable country. There's that word again, equity. So she now runs the campaign seeking to root out white nationalism within the Christian faith. I wonder how many white nationalists she's actually successfully rooted out of the Christian faith. How does one root out a person from the Christian faith? There are no white nationalists in the Christian faith. You want to know why? Because you wouldn't be a Christian if you're a white nationalist, really. You just wouldn't be. And that is not a sentiment that Jesus agrees with. You are not saved, right? I mean, that's white nationalists. I don't know what she's talking about in the Christian faith. So here she is on the Religious News Service. She says, I bring a broad set of relationships that I think can help very quickly pull a broad coalition together. Butler told the Religion News Service on Wednesday, I also recognize we're at a pivotal point in American democracy where faith voices for justice are needed now more than ever. The Harris Walls campaign has a really unique opportunity to shift the debate, to engage all those who are concerned about the Trump presidency, what a Trump presidency would mean. The work of this campaign and what it can do will transform America. So through this appointment, she intends to, quote, reclaim faith for justice and end the idolatry of MAGA Christianity that threatens all of our freedoms. What is MAGA Christianity? I don't understand what that is. There's people who are voting for Donald Trump and also happen to be Christians. Okay, a lot of Christians don't agree with Kamala Harris's extreme abortion policy. A lot of Christians don't agree with Kamala Harris not being strong, being a strong ally of Israel. A lot of Christians don't agree with Kamala Harris's policies. They're anti-Christian. This LGBTQ thing, anti-Christian. How would Christians wanting to make America great again threaten freedom? You know, she says threaten freedoms. MAGA Christianity is a threat to our freedom. What is she talking about? Is she talking about the freedom to do evil? Because she can still do that. She has the choice to do that. If she wants to do evil, that's fine. But it's unclear if she really just means brainwashing people who disagree with her. She wants those people to come back and she wants to be able to brainwash them into her woke religion, her leftist religion, where the pastor dresses up in drag and reads to kids. Okay, that's what her religion is all about. And really, that's blasphemous. Okay. Butler's official title will be the National Faith Engagement Director, according to RNS, Religion News Service. So I'm going to finish a story. I got to take a quick break. She's the new National Faith Engagement Director, this woman, this activist that Kamala Harris hired. So we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to be right back. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. Liberal activists who argued in 2020. Woo! Hey, good morning. I so do appreciate you tuning in each and every single day. Yes, I am on YouTube. For some odd reason, people are reporting that it's cutting in and out. Maybe it's because I'm talking about this story today. Yes, the Aurora police, they posted on social media that they're not going to make any kind of conclusions about the takeover. Armed illegal immigrant gang members took over a Colorado apartment in Aurora, Colorado. It's an apartment complex. We're going to get to that story, and we're going to talk about Brittany Mahomes. Yes, so Brittany Mahomes, not Patrick Mahomes, the football player. We're talking about his girlfriend because Brittany Mahomes, she can't sit with the Swifties anymore because she likes Donald Trump. Okay, well, she hasn't even been blatant about her support of Donald Trump per se. She's just kind of liked memes, pro-Trump memes on social media, and the Swifties have been after her. So yes, this is where politics are, but it's taken social media by storm, and maybe you're interested. So let's start with this story. If you don't have borders, then you don't have a country. Okay, and I don't understand a lot of those libertarian folks and a lot of liberals, they'll say, oh, well, everybody has the freedom to move about. Look, then you don't have a country anymore. You can't have both. You can't have a country and then also have open borders. In the Constitution, it talks heavily about your sovereignty. You as an individual and we as a country deserve and have a right to sovereignty, to be our own nation. One nation under God, right? This is the Pledge of Allegiance. We're one nation. Now, if you have open borders, you don't have a country. It's not one nation anymore. Then it's just the world. And if you have states in a union who blatantly, like Illinois, disregard border laws, so much so that they actually incentivize alien invaders to come over and take over, then you end up with a foreign takeover. So no shock there when you blatantly disregard federal border laws. Then you're going to wind up with hostile alien invasion takeover, and that's what's happening. And this isn't a controversial take, folks, because it's not a matter of opinion. The Constitution says one nation under God. That means one nation. We have the right to sovereignty as a nation. We have the right to govern ourselves and to separate ourselves than that of all the other countries in the world. And it's not a matter of opinion. It's not a controversial take. Okay, this is what we're supposed to have. We're supposed to have one country. But never underestimate these people's just sheer incompetence and their blatant disregard for federal immigration laws coming from a side that says, oh, no human being is illegal. Nobody said no, like humans aren't illegal. I don't understand that, but having a border and keeping other humans out to protect the humans inside this country, that's not evil. It's not wrong. You lock your doors at night, don't you? You have a door on your house to protect you and your own, to protect your own family. There's nothing wrong with having a border. So displaced residents, this story, probably being throttled on YouTube because of this story, because they don't want this story out the mainstream media because it's quite literally a terrorist organization, or this is an act of terrorism. You want to talk about domestic terrorism? This isn't even domestic terrorism because it's not being done by citizens. They're foreign nationals who just happen to be here because of Kamala Harris's open border policy. So displaced residents from a multifamily building in Aurora, Colorado, are warning the rest of the country what may be coming to your neighborhood, a neighborhood near you. I wonder why all these multifamily housing units are going up around Bloomington, Normal, central Illinois area. It's probably because they got to house these illegals somewhere, right? The problem with unchecked illegal immigration is that it's unchecked, meaning anyone in the country can enter in at any time, no matter their intent. Okay, so and while the left wants the masses to believe that migrant crime is a myth and that it doesn't happen, and that all migrants are, great, upstanding U.S. citizens, Americans are suffering in ways that are totally preventable. And I could have predicted that this was going to happen. Actually, in fact, I did. They're going to start taking over everything. They're going to start busting into your house. Okay, they did it with this entire apartment complex in Aurora. So, the complex has been taken over by a Venezuelan gang, and I'm going to butcher this. It's Tren de Agruga. I'm just going to call it TDA. It's a TDA gang. It's a gang known to commit some of the worst crimes known to man, human smuggling, trafficking. There's absolutely no reason why they should be in the United States, but nobody cares, and the officials are allowing them to wreak havoc on Americans. And the best we have are officials gaslighting the masses and victim blaming. They're blaming the victims in this Aurora apartment complex who were forced to move out. So here it is, according to KDVR, a video was shot in a building where Cindy and Edward Romero live. On Wednesday, Fox 31 caught up with them as they loaded up their stuff and moved out. They were forced to move out because there is a hostile takeover taking place in this apartment complex. Fox 31 showed Aurora City Council member Danielle Jurinsky in the video, who helped the couple move out on Wednesday. So you've got a council member helping out people move out of this apartment complex to find a new place to live. Quote, this is what the council member says. She's trying to help these people out. She says the city nonprofits have lined up to help migrants and have come here, but nobody is helping the Americans that are trapped in these apartments, in these apartment complexes. So the gang has taken over, and now people have to flee out of the apartment complex because they've taken over, and it's risky for them to even be there in that apartment. And these nonprofits have shown up to help the migrants, but where are they helping the American citizens? Where are they? These unidentified NGOs are assisting foreign nationals to wreak havoc on Americans, and this is supposedly, squatting rights. They're saying that, because they're, it's all squatting rights, right? This isn't just Americans either that these Venezuelans are terrorizing. They're terrorizing other Venezuelans, okay? They're being extorted by this gang. So I'd imagine Venezuelan women came over with these Venezuelan gang members. Who knows what's happening to them? Children, possibly. It's a really sad situation. Since when have transnational gang members had rights at the expense of law-abiding citizens? Squatting rights is what they're saying. Oh, they can be there because of squatting rights. Colorado has that, I guess. This story gets better because the city is just victim blaming the apartment owner. Okay, so the apartment owner claiming this is nothing more than his refusal to remain code compliant. Subsequently, the city of Aurora slapped the building owner and all tenants in their faces in some deranged, evil attempt to make sure people in the TDA gang were not illegal. So they're trying to victim blame this owner. They're saying that he wasn't code compliant and it's his fault that these people are now faced with this TDA gang who has just shown up and taken over the apartment complex. So the city of Aurora is trying to say like, hey, why didn't you make sure that these people were not illegal before you allowed them to come in? Look, guys, they're barging their way in and they're taking our apartments from us. This is not my fault. So are these people on the left, are they going to save America from this apocalypse? Quite literally, this is apocalyptic. You've got people forcing people out of their homes. I don't know how else to say it other than that this is infuriating. And the police department, they had the nerve to post this and gaslight people on their social media. Quote, "It would be improper at this time for the city and APD, Aurora Police Department, to make any conclusions about specific incidents." Are these people that, did they think we're that dumb? They're trying to say that these people may or may not be illegal. We don't know. We're not going to make any kind of conclusions about this. They're Venezuelan gang members, okay? What do you mean making any kind of conclusions? Really? How dumb do you think these people are? The city and the police department are allowing a foreign takeover and nobody cares. The fact that the media is not reporting on this hostile act of terrorism, and that's what this is an act of terrorism, is telling, because it's an election year. And the fact that we've got the APD out here and they're saying, oh, we're not going to make any conclusions, we're not going to make any statements about this specific incident. This just tells me that you don't want to say anything because it's an election year and you don't want to draw attention to quite literally America turning into this apocalyptic world where you can just come in and take somebody's home away from them. This is terrible. So, yeah, that happened earlier in the show. I told you about the migrants who tried to hijack 2 California buses full of children. It's going to get worse. It is going to get worse. Okay, I do want to shift gears. Let's talk about Brittany Mahomes. Brittany Mahomes, she committed a sin, folks. Oh no, Brittany Mahomes, what did she do? Scandalous. She liked a pro-Trump post on Instagram, and the internet has gone absolutely bananas. And they're not even talking about Patrick Mahomes. They're talking about Brittany Mahomes, his wife. So Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback and the one people care about a lot. And he says he's not getting involved in politics years, but his wife liked a meme and got snitched on and tagged on it. And that's where we're at in politics right now. And that's what has taken social media by storm. So to be clear, the digital streets, they're out there, and there's nothing more pathetic and enraging than people on the digital streets saying, oh, we're going to shame you for liking the wrong post, famous person. That's so annoying. Because it's social media and you could easily even just like a post, like you're just aimlessly scrolling. I do it all the time and I just kind of like things, and she might not even realize she liked it, but we'll get into it more. I do want to take a break. It's worse, when it's a spouse of a famous person. This isn't even a famous person. So why do people care that she likes Donald Trump so much? I'll tell you why, because she is besties with Taylor Swift. So Taylor Swift is the most famous girlfriend in the NFL. I don't know. I've been kind of thinking that Taylor Swift might not come out and endorse Kamala Harris. I think she did that with Joe Biden. She might not do it this time because from what I've heard, Taylor Swift actually dated RFK Jr.'s son. And they have like a decent relationship. Even after they're, broken up, because Taylor Swift breaks up with everybody and is broken up with by everybody because she's probably a terrible girlfriend. She's a feminazi, so that's not very attractive. Anyway, Taylor Swift, she's kind of buddies with RFK Jr.'s son still. And she's also besties with Brittany Mahomes, who is a Trump supporter. I don't think Taylor Swift is going to come out and say, oh, I'm a Trump supporter and wearing a red MAGA hat. No, but I do think that she might stay silent on Kamala. She might just do that. And Democrats are desperate for Taylor to come out and stand up for Kamala. And everyone expects, Brittany and Taylor to have some sort of beef with each other because Brittany is obviously a Republican. She's liking Trump posts. And then you've got Taylor Swift endorsed Joe Biden, the last election in 2020. I think she endorsed him in 2020. And she's a Democrat. Then people are expecting them to fight. But, in real life, you kind of just don't talk about politics, especially if you know the other person's politics. You just kind of don't talk about it because that's what normal people do. If you're, on separate sides of the issue. Now me, I'm kind of different. I don't care. I'll bring it up at the Thanksgiving dinner with Democrat auntie over there. I'll wear my MAGA hat at Christmas time and get all the family members talking. But we're going to be back. We're going to chat about that a little bit here on Conservative Cat. Find me on YouTube and Facebook. It's Friday, and it's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. So do appreciate you tuning in each and every single day. You can find me on YouTube and Rumble, and I'm streaming live. I do want to talk about Brittany Mahomes because the internet is going bananas over this, and they're not talking about Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback, the actual quarterback that people care about. They're talking about his wife. She's not like super famous or anything. She's just the wife of a football player, right? But she's besties with Taylor Swift, and people are desperate for Taylor Swift to stand up for Kamala, and she won't do it. And I think Taylor Swift might not throw an endorsement behind Kamala because Taylor Swift apparently had some sort of relationship with RFK Jr.'s son. We know RFK Jr.'s come out now in support of Donald Trump. Who knows? I don't know, but the Democrats, they're desperate for Taylor to be upset with Brittany Mahomes. And everyone expected them to meet up and to like fist fight or something on opening day, but that didn't happen, right? Because as opposed to, like normal people, they just don't talk about it. Okay, Brittany is obviously a Trump supporter. Taylor Swift is obviously not, and they just don't talk about it like normal people, right? And this is the original offending post. Okay, I'm going to share it on social media here. I want to share this picture. It's a meme. In the meme, I mean, it's essentially a meme. It's a pro-Trump meme. It says the GOP platform: seal the border, stop illegal immigration, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history, end inflation, make America affordable again, make America a dominant energy producer in the world by far. Stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower. It goes on. Large tax cuts for workers, no tax on tips, defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, our fundamental freedoms, including free speech. So it's a list of about 20 things that, the Donald Trump GOP platform, Make America Great platform is, and Brittany Mahomes liked it. Okay, so it's unclear if she unliked it for some odd reason. When you go back to the post, the likes have disappeared. So you can't see that Brittany Mahomes actually liked it. The Swifties, though, they were losing their marbles. They were losing their marbles over her liking a post. There's nothing more pathetic than when somebody gets mad at somebody for liking a post on Instagram. I mean, you don't even know when you like posts on Instagram because you're scrolling and it's easy to like accidentally double tap, especially when you're like mind-numbingly like going through. But the Swifties, they wouldn't calm down about it. Here's one Swiftie. She says, Brittany Mahomes coming out as a Trump supporter. LOL. Thank God I never liked her. And then here's another Swiftie. I always thought it was ridiculous that Brittany Mahomes was hailed as some sort of wildly accomplished girl boss, which I don't think she really ever has been. She's just been known as Patrick Mahomes' wife. I don't know what world they're living in, but and then this Swiftie goes on. She says she's quite literally a girl who just lucked out in life. Her high school boyfriend turned out to be super talented, and she's accomplished nothing. And anything she has accomplished is due to his money. These people are mean. Swifties are mean. Ouch. Another one, Brittany Mahomes. She's such a roller coaster for me. 1 minute I don't like her, and then she grew on me, and then I really started to like her, and now she's a Trump supporter. What? Gosh, these Swifties are nuts. Mahomes. She addressed her haters on Instagram, of course, and this was very well done. So she addressed this. She said, I mean, honestly, to be a hater as an adult, you have to have some deep-rooted issues you refuse to heal from your childhood. There's no reason your brain is fully developed, and you hate to see others doing well. There's no reason your brain is fully developed and you hate to see others doing well. So that's what she said on Instagram. I love it. Well said. Kudos for not issuing some sort of apology. I hate when famous people do that just because they like something and the foaming at the mouth leftists start screaming at the sky, pulling their hair out. You come back and your first response is to apologize. It's not even like she wrote a post. That's what really bothers me about this. She didn't write a post about Donald Trump, praising Donald Trump. She liked a photo. But I really like this because she says hate is going to hate, essentially. So the controversy has kind of died down, but not really. It's taken social media by storm. Mahomes, she posted this photo on Instagram, and it's sparked it back up again. So MAGA Nation showed her support with this post, Brittany's response, where she says, look, you guys have some seriously deep-rooted issues to heal from. And, I'm sorry that you hate me, but yeah, not sorry. Essentially, she didn't apologize. So this was really kudos. So I can't believe that Brittany actually liked the comments of MAGA Nation showing her support in the comment section of her Instagram post. But she liked those. Gasp. How could she dare like what MAGA extremists have posted? Oh no. They like her and they said, hey, kudos to you for standing up for yourself. And oh gosh, how could she like those comments? They're MAGA extremists. They're white supremacists. They're basically Hitler. Swifties. They're insane. All right. I do want to get to this story. Trump, he could cure cancer and the media would find some sort of way to hate him. So this is a really interesting story. You guys remember when Trump went to Arlington Cemetery to honor the service members who died due to the botched withdrawal in Afghanistan. He was the only person who showed up. Biden, Harris, they didn't show up to honor these 13 fallen service members, although it was their fault that they died. Totally preventable. And now the media is saying that the Trump campaign was there and they forced their way in. And they just are straight up lying to you, because I've got the truth and the facts next on Conservative Cat, Cities 92.9. Be sure to follow me. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Conservative Cat Show. We'll be right back. Hey, good morning. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. So do appreciate you tuning in each and every single day. Yes, we are going to get to Kamala Harris. I'm going to play something from her Dana Bash interview with Tim Walz. We're going to be interviewing as a team. That's what Kamala Harris said because she needed Tim Walz to hold her hand. Lion Tim Walz. Tim Walz is nothing but a lion pissant. I'm sorry. I can't stand that guy. He lies all the time about things that nobody should ever have to lie about. I mean, he lied about his military service. He lied about his wife having IVF, fertility treatment. Why would you lie about something like that? Weird. And then he also lied about the Nebraska Chamber of Commerce endorsing him when he ran for Congress back in 1993. This guy is a career politician, is one of those losers who went into the public sector because the private sector was too much for him, and he couldn't make it over in the private sector, so he decided to go rob people's money instead of make money of his own. So I want to get to this story. Donald Trump could cure cancer, like I said, and the media would still hate him, and they'd find some way to disparage him, even if he cured cancer. So the controversy has erupted here after Donald Trump, and I told you about how he visited Arlington National Cemetery on the third anniversary of the Biden-Harris administration's botched withdrawal from Afghanistan, where subsequently we had 13 service members die at the hands of really Biden and Harris, but somehow the media is going after Donald Trump. According to CNN, former President Donald Trump's campaign stirred new controversy this week during a visit to Arlington National Cemetery that was intended to draw attention to the chaotic U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. You know, this would be a non-issue. It really would be if any other former president or current president visited the ceremony. But because this is about Trump, the media is trying to turn nothing really into something. Really, the story here is that Harris and Biden did not show up, but Trump did. The media just won't let this go. So in a Truth Social post, Trump appeared to suggest that the incident stemmed from his campaign's use of photography, sharing a statement from the family members of the fallen soldiers expressing their approval. So the media is trying to claim that he was not supposed to be at the ceremony and that his aides assaulted the staff to try to force their way into the ceremony, that he was not supposed to be there. But look, folks, it clearly the Trump campaign has used photography from the incident. They shared a statement from the family members of the fallen soldiers expressing their approval of Donald Trump being there. So something isn't making sense. CNN is reporting that he wasn't supposed to be there, and then CNBC is also reporting that his aides assaulted their way into the Arlington Cemetery. However, Gold Star families invited him to honor their late loved ones, and a cemetery in Arlington made it political by trying to block him from entering. Okay, so the Gold Star families invited them, but people have made this political and they tried to block him from getting in. So they invited him and then they tried to block him from getting in to make it political. The families then requested that Donald Trump take a picture with them, which is the media is also trying to turn into an issue. Quote, CNBC, a reported physical confrontation between former President Donald Trump's campaign aides and the official at the Arlington National Cemetery is pretty sad, but not surprising, coming from the Trump team, says a spokesman from the Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign. And so her campaign said that, it's not surprising that, these aides assaulted. And then, no, here's what happened. This is an example of people trying to put him in a no-win situation. They do this to him all of the time. He was invited. He accepted the invitation. You try to start some sort of weird scuffle. Obviously, there was Arlington National Cemetery officials there who probably ahead of time got together with the Kamala Harris campaign and said, hey, try to block him and we'll make some sort of issue on CNN about this. And we'll say that his campaign aides assaulted people to try to get into the national cemetery, or the Arlington National Cemetery. You try to start a scuffle when he accepts the invite. And then you try to claim that you were assaulted, which didn't happen. Nobody assaulted anybody. He was invited to go. I just don't get it. It's pretty rich that the media is trying to imply that Trump is exploiting these families for political gain as well. They tried to make that an issue where, he's posted photos with the families. The families requested it. The families asked Donald Trump to take a picture with them. And the media is trying to say that this is, him using it as a political gain or whatever. They asked him to come. They asked him for pictures. And then they tried to manipulate this. And this is how they steal the nation from you, the voter, okay? They try to get you to believe in all of these lies that just aren't true. He was invited. They invited him to take pictures with them, and now they're trying to say and cook up this story that just didn't even happen, that his aides, his campaign aides, got into some sort of physical altercation or physical confrontation with the National Cemetery there. And that's just not true. They create a story and we know it's false. And they know that we aren't buying it anymore. And the stories just get wackier and wackier and wackier. I know that you struggle with it because I struggle with it, where it's so hard to find information. You don't know what's true anymore. So the other day I was working on, a story for y'all about the abortion, because Trump's gone kind of back and forth on this. Not really. He's remained consistent, but you would think if you read only mainstream news that he's gone back and forth on wanting a national abortion ban. But so far, what I've seen from his Truth Social page, straight from the horse's mouth, right, from Donald Trump himself, he has been pretty consistent saying that he would not approve a national abortion ban. Now, this has been pretty consistent, so I don't know what has got pro-life groups all messed up and all upset, because there's pro-life groups who are saying, oh, Donald Trump is not the best candidate anymore. And I want to address that, because people are saying, oh, we're not going to vote for him anymore. Come on, folks. Kamala Harris quite literally is for abortion up to 9 months. I mean, if you want to save more lives, you got to vote for Donald Trump. But, I compare it all the time to slavery in the 1800s, abortion. Republicans fought to have Black people recognized as humans. Now they're fighting for the unborn to be recognized as humans. And, Abraham Lincoln, great. The Emancipation Proclamation, the Republicans, they did a great job ending slavery. They were behind that. The Democrats, as usual, they're behind the slavery, and they didn't see Black people as humans. Abraham Lincoln kind of did a little thing where he was unconstitutional, right? Where it was a little unconstitutional what he did. He made and he did sweeping, with the Emancipation Proclamation, he ended slavery, which, yes, needed to happen. However, then, fast forward, we get something like the Civil Rights Movement. And you have to be careful with rushing to do and not that it'd be unconstitutional, the national abortion ban. I don't think that'd be unconstitutional, but it'd be an authoritarian move to write a sweeping ban. And if you want real change, and if you want that change to last, then you need to go at it incrementally. So you've got Donald Trump. He's got the justices on there. We overturned Roe v. Wade. So this is great for the pro-life movement. Okay, going after this incrementally is the way to ensure that the pro-life and that the unborn are recognized as humans for years to come. Even, fast forward 40, 50 years down the road, what's going to happen? Are we going to have something where, like the civil rights movement, where they were denied, where you start having these kitchen abortions or like back alley abortions? Are you going to see a rise in that happening and people dying in the streets? Are you going to see that happen? And I think that whoever is in office has to understand that getting us to a pro-life country where we recognize the unborn as humans, that is going to take some time. Okay, and just doing a sweeping national ban is going to cause more problems, I think, down the road. So going after this incrementally, I think, is key, because you want it to have a lasting effect. There were things that the Republicans did in ending slavery that they could have done better perhaps giving it up to the states, making it a states' rights issue, the slavery thing, and then letting it die out. I'm not by any means, I wasn't in that time period clearly, and I'm not a politician of any kind, but history will tell you that in order for a movement to be long lasting and in order for things to actually get done, you have to take incremental steps towards that. And Donald Trump has done more for the pro-life community and more for pro-life than any other president in history. And to say that you're not going to vote for him because he says I'm not going to sign a sweeping national abortion ban is a bit ridiculous. He's too moderate for me on abortion. Donald Trump, way too moderate for me. But that doesn't mean that he's not a pro-life president, especially when you compare him to Kamala Harris. Anyway, so I was researching, and my point of telling you the story, I was researching and I was trying to find where Donald Trump said this 15-week federal ban thing. Apparently, he said it in a radio interview. I couldn't find it. Consistently on his Truth Social, he has said that he's not going to sign a national abortion ban. He's said it back in the 2020 debates. He said it back in the 2016 debates. He said it in an address on his Truth Social page that he wasn't going to do this. And all of a sudden people are like, how could he do this? Pro-life groups are up in arms about this. This guy has remained pretty consistent on the abortion issue. He's not flip-flopped, and the mainstream media will tell you that he's flip-flopped. It's a touchy issue. Maybe, sure, his positions have changed over time. But from what I understand, he was really rabid, like pro-choice. And then once he started to run as a Republican, he he changed his position on that stage, which happens, right? Usually you wake up and you're like, oh, yes, science has proven that, children, humans are the unborn, they can feel pain. They have heartbeats. They can, are viable at a certain point out of the womb. And people have changed their position on abortion, and you're allowed to do that. But he's been, as a president and as him running for president, I mean, he's been pretty consistent for the past 8 years, right? So I don't know what people are talking about. So it's really hard to tell what's true, what's not. But from what I can tell, Donald Trump has been very consistent that he's not going to sign a national abortion ban. So it's hard. It's hard to figure out what is real and what's not because the mainstream just lies and lies and lies. They're just pathological liars. And this Arlington story is insane. They created a story that we know is false. He was invited. He was told, he was asked for pictures, and now they're saying that he wasn't invited and that him taking pictures with people is a way to have political capital, and like he's using these people and their sorrow to as a platform. And that's just not true. He was asked for the photographs. All right, I gotta take a quick break, but you're listening to Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. We'll be right back. everybody. Good morning. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. We're going to be wrapping up the show. And I do want to say this, pro-life groups, I'm not trying to alienate them or say anything bad about them. I really am, I am totally with you. I hate that Donald Trump is kind of moderate on this issue. However, he has been the most pro-life president. To not vote for him because he says, I'm not going to issue a national abortion ban, does not mean that he's not pro-life. It means, if anything, he wants more lives to be saved in the long run, because if you sign a sweeping national abortion ban, you're likely going to wind up destroying the movement altogether, the pro-life. You don't want to do that. Right. We want more babies saved, more lives saved. And the Trump supporters who are screaming at pro-life groups because they've taken issue with, this sentiment. But he's been pretty consistent on this. That's the other thing, though. I mean, Donald Trump has been pretty consistent on his position on abortion. He's always been a bit of a moderate. I wish he wasn't, but he is. Like I said, pro-life movement, I totally get it. Pro-life groups, I totally understand your frustration. However, Kamala Harris, I mean, if she was in office, she's going to sign a sweeping, legislation that says, we'll give you a cheeseburger and french fries if you abort your kids, right? I would not doubt something like that would happen from the Kamala Harris campaign. All right, you guys have a blessed weekend. Bye-bye. I love you. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and we'll do it all over again on Monday. Talk to you soon.